I am private living. Today is the 11 July 2022, Monday. We will have a conversation, quite simple, quite clear. Big market, USA is still open as financial market. We will try to operate this. We are the QRM Bulls. I am the founder. We are the Creditors Committee, different things. I am the founder in the same way. Interest as Creditor Committee on my email account and social media, considering effort made at least since 2018. We are charging a very specific group as offenders, and they are separated, segmented, and the stratification, I would say, is something that we use on all the ranking levels because it's hierarchical, organized, and with functionality oriented and with finalism, but it's against the law. They do nothing according with the law, and by result, proved and explicit, presented by notoriety of facts and circumstance, they kind of are unable to have transparency and accountability properly presented by themselves. And this is literally written at the Brazilian Constitution. The Western constitutionalism run the Western society since 1789, considering that maybe the American Constitution had born on 1788, maybe. But we will check that when we take a look on Article 144 of Brazilian Constitution, interval 1988 up to 2022, having the preventive control. From this interval, considering the space, the segment on it, as stratification with global events and international events like FIFA 14, Pan American Games 2007, FIFA 14, Olympic 16, COVID-19. The transference for a group, and this group associated or leading or guiding organized crime as micro-organized crime, which is the domestic crime, or the transnational organized crime by FIFA committees or something like this. Indeed, you are transferring resource and economic empowerment for the organized crime. But this only goes since you had empowerment to do this as finalism oriented by someone that put you there or have elements to sign the contracts. Easy to track, so much easy to seizure the money. Then the Article 144 of the Brazilian Constitution has a speech about the security, and the security is something considered a duty of the state, but the state is a dead structure filled by elements as human resource. With finalism oriented for criminal purpose, the state won't be able to have the accomplishment of their own duty. And inside the security forum by the USA, the other part, it's not a third interest, but the interest with legitimacy to replace the lack of will and capacity of this state as that structure filled by elements running criminal purpose as finalism oriented in general by illicit advantage. And it's a right and a responsibility of we all. We all. And when you take a look on Article 5, the caput headline of the Brazilian Constitution, you, my friend, you check there that we had clearly and literally written, we all are equals in front of the law or by the law. There's no difference between Brazilian and foreigners. And we have some basic rights here and guarantees like freedom, equality, security, and then we make a jump to 144, the property. Equally on Article 144, it's responsibility of we all, Brazilians and foreigners. And this goes inside the domestic space Brazil with the structure, that structure Brazilian state filled by criminal purpose, considering the integrated failure as democratic institutions and corporate peer associated with as democratic institution. It means the judicial system, the Congress, and the government, plus the state as defensive line in the same way on budget. To preserve the order, the protection of the people, Brazilians and foreigners. People inside the Brazilian legal system can be a moral entity that you did the aggression, or an individual like me equally under your unfair aggression and treatment by the intent on chairs segmented by buildings on hotel institution by the kind of people and value that they carry with, and the property. And here we have the division, as a stratification that in general do the records. The federal police, the highway as federal police, the trails police, the other police. Then they do the records. We will observe that acting by the Article 1, Item 4 as free will, observing the Article 5, Item 9 or Clause 9 as my free conscience applied according with the law and the Constitution to protect and replace and open the space for the show. We have equally observed that the Article 5, Item 41 has clearly written there that the law will do the punishment against the violation of basic rights, guarantees, and things you did. And this law is not only the Brazilian law, especially inside the security forum, especially with international agreements signed by Brazil and recognized by the Brazil. The clause 33 has the speech that everybody can request information. Everybody, especially on article, everybody, we are there in the same way. 33, it's diffuse, can you get? On article 5, headlines, it's diffuse, foreigners, Brazilians, consumers, and you are unable to present this information by the record you do, considering the values you carry. We are here to talk about money. Then we will check that this model at the board, but this schema is deep web in deep sheet CNC we had only one element that this matrix switched, and we did this from the consumer law. And we could prove that switching, you do the accusation saying that you did obstruction of justice to prevent the consequence against all crimes committed by you. If we have, for instance, let's suppose a bottle of scotch, not consider the branch, only, this bottle of something has a design. If the design of this bottle is not the same design made by the industry, but despite the beverage, the drink, the alcohol inside is kind of the same alcohol, but you violated in the same way the product, by the bottle, and this is piracy. Despite the volume on it as the beverage, the drink is the authentic thing, but you had the division. For instance, considering that you have the fake whiskey, scotch at the real bottle and the real scotch on fake bottle, you had duplicity of your gains, but you are amazing but not flawless. We will observe that, for instance, when the Alma Chips has a price at the product, considering stamped at things that they offer at the market, saying that kind of is the price $1. It's $1. It's the 3 P's according with Kotler: price, product, and place. And the place leads to a logistic system with a supply chain that you have your stamped and this allows the authorization as industrial research to track the piracy. The piracy seizure and offered again at the market implies the failure of the association, but who did the seizure? And who did the seizures do the records about the procedure and in general have the storage of items seized. But now they are offering at the market again. It points to you, my friend. It's not my fault. It's your fault one more time. And we are having a collinear element here, which is the procedure, the seizure, and the records. See? Then, we had this model at the board when we will work quite clear and very fast here. Considering that we will use our industrial research by the authorization of things by failures, because we lead ourselves to the holder that we need. But to track this, we must have the stratification of the market. Considering that the first thing that you have on mind is that, for instance, I can consider from macro environment America and my macro environment Brazil as comparative measurement. I will have USA, I will have Brazil. I will have the technical staff divided as a yin and yang, but indeed it's our mind. And here in the same way, it's the International Criminal Court and the Organization of States in America, I say. Then here in the same way. And here we will have the regulatory premises, which is the task force as law enforcement. This comparative measurement will will exchange information, and these issues are inside the security forum that will lead ourselves to the segmentation that we have. On our micro environment, we will consider the security system in Brazil, and for instance, the institution that do the records in the same way, and the institutions that do the records on America. Here I have the conjunctural, alpha and beta. Here I will have inside the conjunctural alpha and beta the public segment A, the public segment B. And inside the corporative segment, which in general we can do everything until the limits of the law. And in the public department, you must do everything according with the law. We will operate now our elements inside the financial market, considering the banks that we need as Bradesco Brazil and Intensa Italy. We suggest to be like this. In the same way, we will have the same design, but now, considering that we will have, for instance, the Intensa as bank, the Bradesco Bank in Brazil, and the technical staff here as Intensa. The Intensa here, and the technical staff as Bradesco. Here I will have my elements of regulation now, considering that will be the judicial system Brazil, the judicial system, the public system USA, here in the same way. Let's suppose, instead of have the Intensa, let's have the Citibank or the Bank of America. You know, you got the point? The exchanged information as intra-bank between the foreigner bank and the Brazilian bank goes inside the financial system Brazil, which have problems as I call a crime by silence, and crimes against the public finances equally by silence. And the elements here are failure at the source is Brazil. And America, for instance, it's presented this by my half European condition. I will put you both on a terrible situation. Then we will check that this kind of thing allows ourselves to present, but we are presenting this to the America system. They must recognize this and understand that this kind of thing as obstruction put them as legitimacy down in the same way had happened with the Brazil as that structure state filled by criminals associated by silence. Then we will check that the failure as one specific institution here will be something like this. I will have my function density considering our astrophysics model from 0 up to all elements inside this institution as micro perception, which will be the number of players here. The number of players here inside an institution is something like this, with a lot of people on it. And this micro situation inside my conjunctural system, now presented as a system under review for control before 2028, kicking the activity on 2022, considering crime since 1988. Goes like this. And we could get that the continuity of crimes by chairs, and the lifelong chairs implies the continuity of the same signatures or on crimes protected by elements that leads to deep web scan. Indeed, this goes inside this segment here, which is inside this segment here as a sampling group, which will point to the chief of this institution by silence. And now we will observe that, let's suppose that this institution with operation by silence from a large group of variables, which is my factorial behavior integrated as criminal, forming my entire conjuncture as criminal conjuncture that will be, for instance, associated with other criminal conjuncture, only will happen if they could shake hands. If I cut the hands of them both, they will not be associated, and they will be forced to get in touch by thoughts. And in the same way, I will observe that the heads of criminal activity as transnational organized crime will be forced to operate when the operators are under constriction. And we had this model before, which was something like this. To get the root cause of transnational organized crime, consider the amplified space that they got, and this violate the limits of all situation threatening we all by the fake records covering everything they did. Will be like this. I will chase this group as control group inside the institution that belongs to the financial system and implies equally the public financial system under the review on present time as international judicial power USA, presenting the obstruction, forcing them to talk, and then they will talk a bit more, and then they will talk a bit more until have the root cause of those things. Indeed, we did the depuration of circles, considering the amplified element as transnational, organized crime as pandemic event. But as you can observe, it's not pandemic anymore, but only transcontinental. It's not transcontinental anymore, it's only transnational. It's not transnational anymore, only national. And this national is segmented on Brazil, but and we are charging from them with values as 33 trillion as compensation plus 2 trillion as financial punishment, but your dishonest behavior. And if you are annoying me all the time, we are charging you 1 billion as harassment plus 2 billion as financial punishment against your illicit behavior as dishonest. The last thing we will have and finish the presentation. Here is the system of charge for individualization. And we will check that the violations made by you at my personal computer here. But to achieve my personal computer, and then you will kind of try to hack my instrument to access the digital space. And to modify my antivirus, even as VPN, probably will allow us to get the modification as, for instance, the DNS. And if I use the Google DNS, you violated the Google DNS as the structure of information as provider of full service. The Microsoft as system provider of full service. If I do the access by my mobile, the Android in the same way, and they violated the VPN, consider that you are hidden. And then you not satisfied, I would like to change the BIOS of my computer as personal computer to spread the signal as internet or something like this that I don't have, I shut down. You are amazing, but you are in a big trouble. And all guarantees to bomb you inside a boat will be something like this. Quite simple to get in the same way. We will have 1 bolt, we will have 2 bolt, we will have 3 bolt. The integration of both A, B, and C indeed will bomb only the bolt C, because we will have that model A, B, C, you know, and you see how deep is your problem. Deep web scam. Have a good day.